Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another modding stream. We are here to get some work done on Deliverance, but also on HYDRA today. Before we even look at this, we need to do some housekeeping. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize that one right there. We're first going to do some conversions of some graphics, and some of them will look pretty familiar. In fact, all of them will look pretty familiar because I'm going to be converting every single graphic that we have yet to complete in that sense. I'm going to be basically reprocessing all of the graphics from Five Nations that we're using in HYDRA so that we can fix team color and some other stuff. And at the very least, even if they're not the final pass, we'll have the final framework for it. So if Veek wants to do any changes to the gradient maps or whatever, we will have the capability to do so. So let's pop into that. We definitely have some work ahead of us as a result. This is actually already processed. And this is the Azazel, and we did not quite process that just yet. So what we have to do for this particular purpose, it's a bit of a complicated process. As you can see, Notepad doesn't even want to open this fucking file because it's JavaScript. Who would have guessed? In fact, it might just crash. I don't know why it would, because we might already have this file open elsewhere, but I don't know why Notepad would refuse to open it. Doesn't appear to be an issue. There we go. I don't know why it was giving me issues earlier, so we'll say tho unit 02. The classic Maradour. Yes, my favorite unit. Oh yeah, every single unit name, despite typos, every single unit name in this game is like action verb or generic as fuck. Usually both. So, as you can see, HYDRA has made this sort of image thing that spits out all of the images. In this case, we can hop into Photoshop. We can take this file, we can cut it, delete the original. We can hop into another instance of Explorer to jump into our archive here. We know that we're using this as the Azazel. We'll come in and bring this in. And since we know that it's 1054 by 50, I'm not sure why it's that wide, but it didn't actually get processed over. I don't know why that didn't automatically happen. Maybe HYDRA didn't finish that particular functionality. So if we take 1054 and we divide it by 17, we get 62, which tells me that each frame should be roughly 62 pixels if it's adhering to what I think it's adhering to. Which means that we should be able to move it across to 62. Okay. So, assuming this is correct, we can jump into our grids, change our grid line to be 62, and we can just manually do the I guess I'll just do layer via copy because for some reason it doesn't like that any other way. Oh, you know what I guess we could do is let's move that back. We'll actually just duplicate the layer flat out. And we will move the whole thing over by 62 pixels. I'm not sure if this really makes sense. Probably not. Whatever. Basically, we need to find a way to make this a little bit more sane. So let's open it. Say 62. I've got a better idea anyway. We'll just drag each and every one of them along. Now, I have already processed the Gorgoleth, but that one came automatically processed. I'm not sure precisely why. But, like, again, I think maybe there's either a bug with the program or HYDRA just did that particular process manually, which, if that's the case, man, big ups. All right, so that was much more reasonable than initially expected. We'll just call this a Zazel, and we will save. Oh, we're still in PNG format, so I guess we'll save this as a Photoshop document. So what we're going to do now is we are going to, like we have done with all of the other particulars, we're just going to group select, mass select every pixel that we want to recolor. And basically every pixel that we think is relevant to the team color. I'm noticeably selecting a lot of extras. I will deselect those manually when the time comes. It's sort of just a trade-off that I've got to deal with. But given that we have so few frames to actually look at, I'm not really that worried about it. Technically, I made my life a little bit more annoying by duplicating those frames, but I don't mind it because, again, it's such a short or small actual number in the grand scheme of things that I'm not really that worried about it. It's not going to stop me from complaining about it later, but I know what I'm getting into here, so. In some cases, it's actually more efficient for you to manually select whatever you want to add or subtract, depending on the situation. That looks pretty good. I'll hop over to the beginning and loop back to the middle. I always instinctively start in the middle, which is probably a bad idea. I can skip every other frame since they are duplicates, so if I don't see anything wrong with one, I can just skip 2 over and then wind up here. Nice. All right, and we're back to where we were. So now we're going to add that pixel, subtract that one, and all these. All the ones in the back, and that one up there. I think it's basing the approximation of certain pixels off of things like your like the luminosity of the pixels in addition to everything else. Like the actual hue is not as significant as you might think. It's not like the only thing that they look for, basically, so. There have been plenty of cases where Magic Wand has gotten me some pixel that I was not expecting to get. I think we'll just subtract those. Of course, I needed to do a really complicated maneuver on one of them that is duplicated. It's not really that complicated. But still. I mean, I guess all of them are duplicated except for this last one. Not really sure why the south-facing frame is the one that is not duplicated in StarCraft. It does seem a little odd. That, I mean, obviously due to the nature of numbers sometimes being odd or even, you need that, but still. You wouldn't think it would be the south-facing frame, since the north-facing frame would then be out of balance, my instinct would have been to duplicate, or not duplicate, the east-facing frame. Then you would have a situation on your hands where you, like, would obviously have the odd number of frames necessary for the facing directions you have. But you wouldn't have this weird imbalance where the north-facing frame is seen disproportionately more than the east-facing one. Create a little bit of separation over there. All right. That seems good enough to me, so we'll go ahead and do a layer via cut, call it team color. And we will hide the layer to see if we missed anything. I see one right here. So we just simply layer via cut that, merge these, hide it again, keep looking. Maybe that was our only mistake. I did see a pinkish one over there, purplish one over there. Okay. And this is really like splitting hairs, but figure better safe than sorry. So now we'll go ahead and do a curves and a gradient map. Take this gradient map, sink our teeth into that team color. I usually like to just sort of stretch this down a few places. And then bring that one back up. May have gone too far down. But it usually adds a little bit of depth to the team color. And I think we're looking good. See? Not very challenging. It's the most difficult, grueling aspect of it, if you can call any aspect of this grueling. Definitely selecting all of the team color pixels. But after that, you've got an image that is ready to be imported. So we can just grab this, or cut this from our temp folder, dump it in here. We will take this, delete all the frames, frame set, paste this in. We've got 17. Double check that everything looks good. And indeed it does. Now I'll export it as vertical. And we will reopen Shadow Flare's converter. And bring this over here. And I think that came out nice. So before we do that index color stuff, curves one layer. Okay, right before merge visible, we're going to go ahead and save this as the PSD file over here, because I'm not sure if I hit save before doing that action. So just to be on the safe side. And then we're going to go digging for the next one. I guess real quick, I will grab this and bring it into the graphic over here. Oh, I don't remember which graphic the Azazel uses. If I had to guess, it would be one of these critters. Maybe K critter? Yes, it is. So we'll go ahead and paste that over there. Obviously pretty useful thing about that graphic. It doesn't have any animations, so nothing could have gotten out of sync. And we can just pop right in here. Double check our findings. And yeah, the engine is still fucked. I haven't done one. That was a nice spin from Dawn there, guest starring in our test. And it's not an epic showcase exactly, because we are in the middle of the nighttime tile set. But if we spawn Azazel 12, and then we spawn Azazel 3-1, you know, we could see the team color. I didn't really do it before and after, but these are usually improvements. I've already done the Gorgolith, like I said. We still need to adjust the gradient map a little bit. But here's a nice, you know, burn this into your fucking memory, the Irolith, because we can do that at some point later, and it'll be a big difference. But if you remember at all what the Gorgolith used to look like, or looks like you could boot this up in a live patch environment, the current live EXE, you could look at the Gorgolith. I guess I could do that too. It's a real night and day difference. So just for the sake of demonstration, I will jump in and show you guys what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, I guess we just have him over here. So you can see there's way more aliasing. I can check the Centaur as well. It's a little bit harder to see this guy. But even the Azazel we could take a look at. Admittedly not a huge change, but definitely some areas up in the arms, you can see that those were a lot smoother, a lot more like what the source graphic had. And in this case, yeah, just looks infinitely better on the redone version that we just did. So definitely pleased with that. Even though this is a time-consuming process, I think that makes it worth it. You know, you have units that feel a little bit more like they were actually designed to be in the game, even though they clearly were not designed to be cast in that really limited palette or whatever. We still made them work a lot better. So very happy with that. So I guess we can just dive right into the Irolith next. I think it was 16. That looks like the one. So we're going to go ahead and grab that. Bring it to the EXE. And then in bundle, we're going to look for Zo Unit 16. It's called Decay. Ruptor. Of course, one of them is called Behemoth. Why wouldn't it be called Behemoth? Let's just say Zo Unit 16.png Y Decay. And we will see what this turns into. Notably, I think my iScript for the Irolith in the current live version is actually very off. So this one seems to have worked correctly in terms of the offsets. I'm probably still going to have to make a few corrections, but if we look at it, it does seem like we have 17 rows. 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I don't know where we just were. 8. Ugh. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah. If we started at 0, did we? So this is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So the only change here that I have to do is I basically have to take everything here on this side. I've got to copy and paste it and then move it over by 1. Because again, the south side, to make it consistent with everything else that's in the game, I have to make it so that the right side one is duplicated, the right facing one is duplicated, the south facing one is not. But that's the only change that I have to do there, unlike the Azazel where I had to actually fill in the remaining frames. So pop into Zo, find HYDRA Irolith, go ahead and paste this in here. Now, judging by this image's dimensions, we have 1547 is our width. So if we take that, divided by 17, we get 91. So it looks like our grid should be 91 pixels. And we will go ahead and use that for the sake of doing what I just said I have to do. I'm going to say layer via copy. No, that still doesn't. Oh, maybe it does. Yeah, that works fine. Okay, that's why it's only going over 90. All right. So now we have our correctly oriented frame set, basically. So we'll call this Irolith. And we'll say time to go hunting for all the colors. Now, one of the things that I think we attempted to do in... Yeah, we attempted to make the yellow thing team colored. That wasn't originally here, or there, as you can see. So we'll be trying a similar approach this time. This time, obviously, having the benefit of still having the original asset to make use of here. So we can go ahead and grab all of the yellow pixels. And because we're using a gradient map, it won't matter that this isn't, you know, pink or anything. Because we really just want to get the location of the pixels that we are meant to be changing. So now we can do this. I like how when I'm shift left clicking on this pixel, it's selecting things around the pixel. Like, that doesn't even make sense. It doesn't appear to be... Oh, maybe it is. Maybe the tolerance is just messed up. So... Wow. Thank you, Photoshop. Outstanding. As always. Okay. The thing is, I really don't want to have to do any of the careful work that I had to do on a per frame basis for this graphic. What I had to do on the side of the Azazel, it's just not feasible to do for a placeholder graphic in the first place. Like, it's not what we want to be doing with our time. For rather obvious reasons, I think. So this needs to be removed, basically. Or I can jump into here and remove it there, like so. And we can hope that that does the trick. And again, we're just sampling all of these frames. See what we can come up with. I'm not going to grab that. See if we can find anything else here worth grabbing onto. And it looks like it. Sometimes it is worthwhile to try and grab onto a couple of pixels here and there that you've already got added to the selection because of the way that the Magic Wand tool works. I find that on occasion I will get a couple of useful extra colors out of that process. Again, mostly just hoping at this point that this turns out okay. There's probably going to be some distracting bits here and there on the basis of us having used the Magic Wand tool to automate a lot of the work. But when you've got, like, I think there's 255 frames to this graphic. You know, or 256, I guess. There's just no way. I guess it is 255 now that I think about it. We'll go ahead and hope that this is enough here. Problem is when you have like 4 billion colors, it's never enough, let's be real. So right now my tolerance is 0. I'm only selecting colors of the same exact tone. That's just so that I don't accidentally deselect stuff. But this is clearly one where there's a lot of delicate colors. And I'm less worried about making sure that I get every single little bit. Definitely more worried that I don't give myself an insane amount of work to do later. In an attempt to cover all my bases. Because as long as there's no really large scale, gross looking interruptions to the team colored bits, it won't really catch anybody's eye, I think. So that's my assumption. And even if it is something where it's like, oh, this does look a little distracting, we already know based on the earlier tests that we ran, this is not something that we need to worry about when it comes to like it not being as good as the original graphic or whatever. Like the one that we currently have in the game is just so bad compared to the one that we are going to ship very soon. The one that I'm working on right now. It's just so much better that it's just no contest there. Nonetheless, we do have a little bit of cleanup to do here, as you can see. And I'm just, again, hoping that this stuff doesn't end up being a sink or swim kind of moment. Where well, it's more like a catch-22 where you may not be able to grab everything. Yeah, I'm also not looking to grab every single pixel. Mostly the ones that I'm most concerned about are the ones that are very obviously magenta, because those will screw with the final graphic if there's some that are like magenta but the off tones, and they get corrected by the palette to one of the very few colors that are in the palette that are magenta toned but not converted using team color, because there's like, I think there's 3 or 4 colors that are like that. That's a situation where we just don't want to be sort of beholden to any sort of visual oddities that look like they should be team color, but like you play as a blue player or something, and then you've got a couple magenta sparkles or something like that. That could happen so easily with any sort of team color work that you're doing if you don't catch every single magenta pixel. So we're just trying to make sure that that doesn't happen. Sometimes you'll luck out and they will be converted into something that the game does use for team color. The other thing that we want to make sure we avoid is anything that's super out of place. Like I just found a couple of pixels that was on the tendrils. Definitely don't want that. That's just not reasonable. But again, it's not feasible to micromanage and grab every single pixel on every single instance of like every single frame or whatever. There's just too many. So we're probably just going to stop after this frame set, maybe do a cursory glance in a few other places. Like there's a lot of stuff here, and I hadn't looked at the northern facing frames in a while, or at all, I think. So it makes sense for me to grab a bunch over there. Again, we're on a tolerance of 5 right now, so it only makes sense that our colors need a little bit more persuading to jump aboard. But there's not a whole lot of damage that can come from grabbing onto the yellow pixels. Thankfully. Especially the brighter ones. And again, after this, we can just do a pass through the entire set of graphics. Take a look at what we missed, because I'm sure there's going to be a bunch. Certainly more than what was in the Azazel, if I had to guess. So we'll be looking for yellow pixels that are on those giant eyeball dots, as well as stray magentas. Wow. That was a tough one right there. The other thing is if we see something that is very much something that belongs on the base layer, because we accidentally selected a couple of pixels that we shouldn't have, that means that we're going to need to make those a new layer via cut and merge them back. So like I just saw one on this frame here. I'll just take off. Yeah, I'm really not sure how some of these pixels didn't get grabbed. That's the more confusing part to me. It's deceptive, though. You wouldn't necessarily expect it to work out the way that it often does. Just grabbing a couple of these where I can. Surprisingly, it seems like most of the stuff in the eyeballs are okay. I'm not seeing a whole lot of shit in there. So I guess we'll go ahead and layer via cut. Hide away. See what we got here. Yeah, unsurprisingly, it's mostly yellow tones. Pretty unfortunate that there's so many magenta ones. Means we're gonna be here a little longer. I'll just go after the really obvious ones that need the treatment. but still. Overall, we're pretty close, I think. Man, this one has so many. That's the downside of... Well, this is all the downside of not making our own graphics. You have to become Liam Neeson and hone a very special set of skills. Yeah, again, mostly I'm targeting stuff that looks out of place or stuff that will potentially screw with the indexing job. Sometimes these pixels that are purple or pinkish can turn blue because of the limitations in the color palette, which is another thing that we want to avoid for pretty obvious reasons. In fact, sometimes they're blue even in the Five Nations graphics, which is, of course, very confusing, but something that just happens. What's up, Veek? I'm not actually sure that using a mask would be as helpful for visualizing the graphic without it. I'm pretty sure there would always be some tangible overlay. The other thing is that if we want to make edits to the source file that I'm sampling the pixels from right now, we would have to do so with while also modifying the team color if I was keeping it in the same layer. So unless you're suggesting making a copy instead of a cut. But again, then I can't really see the pixels that I've missed because I can't just toggle the graphic off like I've done here. So yeah, the police are coming for you to arrest you for such goofy suggestions. I'm afraid it's time. I'm a bit worried about the adjustment layer here. I guess we can take a look at it. That's not so bad. You. Well, I guess I'll be doing some manual fixes after all, dude. Lest I cause even more problems. Because we want to cut down on the number of issues where possible, so. I'm still not sure what you're actually arguing for, though. If I can make a mask on the gradient map, it's much easier to actually edit and maintain. Except toggling the gradient map off, all it does is remove the gradient effect, which doesn't show me what pixels I missed in my initial pass. The gain is knowing what changes still need to be made at a glance. Now, if you're saying that I can find that out in the same way that I'm finding it out now, maybe, but not really. Because I could still be selecting pixels in other areas due to the issues with the Magic Wand tool. So it's not really the same thing at all. And significantly inferior in my opinion. Now this is technically less, what's the term? Like it's less safe of an edit. It's more destructive of an edit, I think is what they say in Photoshop school. But that doesn't make it more or less valid here. Particularly since we still have all the data. Though what does really piss me off is that I can't seem to actually merge these layers unless they're in a group. XD. Yeah, there's still a few stray pixels. Now, I will say this is where it being in a mask would be a little bit easier to edit and maintain, like Vika's saying, but unfortunately, it would have complicated the rest of the process pretty heavily too. So. Look at all these frames. Why does it set it? Jesus Christ. Okay, with a tolerance of 1, maybe we've done it without destroying everything. I'm willing to guess not really. Well, yeah, I've used Alt-click before, and it was not what I was looking for. It doesn't really matter, though, because in this particular case, we'd still be fucked. Because, unfortunately, there's so many pixels that need to be grabbed. Yeah, it's just that, like, some of the pixels in question are used everywhere, basically. At a glance, this is fine. It's just that it really falls apart in some particular frames. And it doesn't appear that there's an easy way around it. Alright, so then the other thing that I wanted to see here was how many frames we actually have. There's a lot of duplicates in these things. Yeah, we have 30 frames, apparently. 30 frame sets, rather. And we're looking at 27, 30. Okay. So our grid of 91 is apparently 91 squared. So the reason why I'm thinking about this now is that we definitely don't actually need all of those frames. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that they've reused a bunch of them. For example, I guarantee you that this has a duplicate somewhere. Oh, as a matter of fact, the attack animation is very clearly duplicated. Yeah, this whole area is not necessary. But yeah, I was gonna say that the this frame is probably the same as this one, not the top. Which means we can also delete this without any loss. And sometimes they have multiple frames that are like identical. But like they had the Gorgoleth had the first frame set, the 7th frame set, and the 8th frame set were all the same. So I guess before deleting this, what we can do is we can save this as HYDRA and index the image. And then all right, that was a paste, by the way. And that was another paste. All right, so it looks like once again these two are duplicates. So let's just Control Z. All right. Okay. I should have done that before because that would have saved me some work. But, you know, you live and you learn. So now how many frames do we have here? We take 1911 divided by 91. And it appears we have 21, which times 17 is 357. So that's still way more frames than we have in the actual graphic, I think. Like the existing Ireleth graphic. Yeah, I only have 255. So what else have we got duplicated here? Well, $1635. Oh, 1360. So, according to the default calculations that I have here, this graphic should actually end right about here. So, what's up? Let's compare this to what came before it. There is a change. And what came after it. There's also a change. Okay. So let's compare this to this. Uh-huh. So it looks like that animation is just looped. So that kind of solves that conundrum. All right, so let's try to grab Well, that's clearly not right. It doesn't look like I actually saved my crop, so that's probably what happened there. Okay, so we might have solved it, actually. It might be fine. Well, that's definitely more reasonable as far as graphics go to actually try and use. But, oh, wait. All right. Anyway, I'll go ahead and save this image as Ireleth new. And we'll call that one in some state of completion. We can't necessarily say it's perfect, but it's in some state of completion. I will be right back. Got to use the bathroom. When I come back, I guess we'll just move on to another graphic so that I don't have to strain over this one too much. I guess we can do the Nath record. That one definitely needs some help. So we'll do that. BRB. And I'm back. Venator. Well, I have no idea what that even means, but I suspect neither do the developers. Oh wait, did we? We haven't actually compiled the Irelith yet, so I should do that. I thought oh, I do have it open. So here we have 1224 divided by 1772. Very nice. All right, cool. So that one definitely still needs some touching up, but it's okay. We can deal with that. I'm almost certain we do not have 238 frames for the Nathra core. No, we have 119. So 17 times, oh wait, that's 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, it sure does seem like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it looks like the graphic was just duplicated. I don't feel like doing math, so we'll see. 738 divided by 2 is 364. And just like that, much easier to grab what we need to grab. All right, time to get to it. Tolerance of 20. Give me all those pixels. If I know what you mean. This one should be a breeze compared to the last two. Not only because it's got less overall frames, but also very much because it is a little bit simpler, a little bit smaller. So it's like less surface area, plus less frames, so less menial labor. And plus less complexity. One of the weirdest things about these graphics is that they have that weird transparency. Like, they have different opacities depending on the pixel. And I just never would have expected that in an RTS of all things. You'd think you'd want to keep the outline very clean and clear so that the silhouette is never confused for something else. But I don't know. I'm not an art guy. I'm pretty sure it's funny that you just asked about the transparent pixels when I was talking about that. Hive mind, by the way. So much for Protoss. More like Zerg here. But yeah, I'm pretty sure what happens is that they get removed anyway. So, like when I do the gradient map, I'm assuming they don't get something must happen to them be differently. Like it must automatically because I feel like I would have noticed it being terrible if that wasn't the case. I guess I'll take a look at it. In this particular one, it'll be a good case study to complete the idea. Yeah, I understand that it's meant to deal a sort of a natural way to do anti-aliasing or whatever, but I'm not really understanding why you would do it in RTS when the silhouette is one of the most important aspects of the unit. That's what I'm getting at, is like there's got to be something going on there that I'm not familiar with. Like I would want the silhouette to be very clearly defined, right? And I'm not sure that transparent pixels are the way to do that. Maybe it's not as big of an impact as I'm expecting. I really can't stand how loud this fucking computer is. I really, really wish that there was some way to make it less noisy. I've got aftermarket cooling as case fans and as a CPU fan. And I've tried setting shit up in the MOBO. I think it's just the actual thermals being terrible. Which is weird because I haven't noticed performance issues, but maybe if I forced it into quiet mode, I would notice those a bit more. But something's got to give because I'm not going to be able to record voice acting or anything until that's resolved. Silhouette is a pretty tough word to spell, but it does not have a V in it. And zooming out does not tell me anything. I would need to see it in game, and obviously it doesn't translate into Brood War since we get rid of it. Anyway, yeah, it looks like the transparency or opacity of the pixels is actually part of the layer, so it's probably like fill or something. And if I had to guess, that means we're looking at a set of, like, basically the pixels themselves get removed in the index. If I had to, just as an assumption anyway. I would imagine it would be something like that. There you go. Yeah, something, you know, it's very natural. You would expect that you would spell that word that way, I'm sure, but... All right, I think that's good for now. That was 119. You know, I'm getting a sinking feeling that maybe those frames that I'm missing are a bit more valuable than I thought. I'm assuming it is based on the... And that was sarcasm when I was saying that anyway, because it doesn't appear to have an H sound for... it sounds like SILOOETE or something. Silhouette. But yeah, I'm assuming it's borrowed from French. From the French, no less. Okay. There is a way to get to the bottom of this anyway. And it's by... 2xing the size. Grabbing this. Moving it down. Merging it. And then... I was trying to actually use this as like a color map so that I could... What the fuck? When sample all layers is on, I would assume... What? Oh. Okay, hold on. Just because it was counting the stuff that I was doing for some reason. What's up, Tomas? I'm plugging in some team color for this unit right now. And by plugging in, I'm mostly just me, and I'm grabbing a bunch of team color. Oh, wrong one. bunch of colored pixels that should be part of the team color, but need a little help, need a little persuasion to get across the finish line there. It's a unit that comes from another game, and we are putting it into Starcraft as a custom unit for the Zerg. Just trying to make sure that we got all the colors. I thought I was actually done with this one, but unfortunately I missed some frames, I think. So we're just double checking there. And I think we can go ahead and take this rough cut, throw it into the team color layer. We're definitely going to have missed some, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and index it. And $38 is the number of frames that we should be having according to that. So we'll try that. See if this is actually what we're looking for here. Now that's strange. Oh, I think I know why that might be the case. Hold on, just do it this way. Wow, that's peculiar. What game is it from? It's from 5 Nations, which if you search 5 Nations RTS, you might find something. There was you can just download the game, as far as I understand, but I haven't seen any updates on it in a while. The developers were active as far back as February of this year, but I haven't seen anything since. Team color is just defined. Has everything colored that shade of pink, or is there something more to it? No, that's exactly it. That's why, like, technically StarCraft has like 11 or 12 colors that are some shade of magenta or pink, but 8 of them are used for team color, so everything else in the game, like, that's why we have so few purple colors, is because we have so few colors that aren't already gobbled up by team color. It's just another artifact of the junk nature of the palette and all that, unfortunately. Yeah, here's all the missing pieces that we need to grab. But yeah, palette limitations aside, we basically just want to make sure that we don't mess up and have a bunch of colors that are supposed to be colored in by the team color but aren't because we missed them for one reason or another. Now this process wouldn't be possible without iQuire's updates to the Atlas tool that rips out all of the frames from the atlases. Now it organizes them into this image that you see me editing now, this one composite image. Makes my job a lot easier here. In fact, the team color picking, like what I'm doing now, in finding all of the team color graphics, or pixels, that is the most time-consuming part now. Everything else is fairly automated. So, it's pretty epic. Okay. Oh, I see. I had it set to merge visible, and that's why it wasn't working. So you can see there's like a couple of pixels down here that need to be filled in, which I can do a little bit later. I just want to see if there's any particular reason why this isn't working as intended. Oh, I think I actually know what happened. So I think when I pasted in the second layer, I did so at an offset or something. So it was like 364, but these are a couple pixels up or something? I'm not sure how tall each individual frame is supposed to be. So we're looking at 728 is the height. I forget how many frames there are. It's 14, I think. Okay, so we're looking at a size of 52. So if, for the sake of argument, I was trying to move this up and then move it back down, that should fix the problem. If there was a problem with the arrangement, but I don't think there was. So I don't know why it would be like that. Yeah, that is exactly what we're going to be doing later this year and most of next year. But anyway, I'll show you what it is. Oh, actually, I think, yeah, this is the actual website. Oh, shit, you can pre-order. Wait, they're actually accepting money for this? Late summer. Okay, go away. But yeah, you can take a look at what they have here. I think you can download the chapter 1 thing. I don't know where they keep it. But yeah. The main issue that we have with making a new RTS, I mean, it's going to take a lot of time regardless, but the main issue that we're going to have is art. And so while programming is its own thing, I know we can get through that part. It's the art side of like actually making custom graphics for everything. That's going to be a little challenging. So it looks like we have a distance of 5, but here we have a distance of 6. But is it always a distance of 5? It is not. Oh, I see. Yeah, you can kind of see how like parts of the tail are jumping into the other areas. I'm just going to go ahead and assume that that means that this is at an offset and it needs to be moved up. So we'll move it up by 2. And I hope that that is sufficient. I'm not seeing any more pixels leaking in. Oh, I am seeing one more. Yeah. Of course it was at an offset of 3 pixels. Who would have guessed? It was anything but 3. 3. Fucking 3. As usual. So this is where the first half ends. And then it just jumps back. Admittedly, that is a new frame. Yeah, maybe it is. It's still pretty sudden to jump back, though. I don't know. That doesn't seem like a complete animation. It seems like there's some shit in there that's botched in some way, shape, or form. Anyway, what's our X dimension? 1224. Was that it? Yeah. Should just move this to my other monitor so I stop losing it. There we go. Oh, yeah. This is before I actually... raised that offset. So I gotta 3 it again. Okay, now that I made that correction there, if I decide that there needs to be some sort of recolor to that, it will be easy to implement. See, that's what I mean, is like, it's not actually a complete animation. It jumps back over. It's almost like frame 233. Let me get back to that angle. Oh, they are the same graphic. They are the same frame. Yeah. That's so weird. It really feels like they're just flat out missing a bunch of frames to their animations. I guess they're just supposed to play the same frame in reverse then? Or maybe the graphic is just missing frames, honestly. It's just been a series of incompetence when it comes to the people who made this game. So I don't know about that one. All right, let's just jump back into here. Turns out some of that work was for nothing anyway. SMH. Actually 119. The fuck? Oh, I probably didn't. Yeah, classic. Oh, sometimes it looks like a complete animation, so it's only from certain angles? What if I turn off the red outline? No, it definitely looks fucked up in some cases. So, yeah, maybe that's just... I don't know. That's weird. That is fucking weird. Very strange. Strange graphic. Well, I'll chalk that up to their error. Guess it's not that big of a deal. Okay. So, we've done the Nathricor, we've done the Iralath. The Iralath probably needs some iScript adjustments. Go ahead and grab the Wyvern. Called Pirate Vessel, by the way. Is that not what I... Alright, doesn't look like it wants to work with that one, so we'll leave that for now. What else do we have anyway? I feel like we must have used another one of these graphics. I just don't remember which one it is. Oh, that's gonna be the Autocrat. Okay. Okay, I'll give this one a shot. So this is fed unit 08. Okay, cool. That one worked. I guess we'll go ahead and chunk that in there. There is, of course, Hoop Thrower. That would be useful. But nothing for Hydra. We do have to do the Othstaleth at some point. But I think we've gotten everything else. Gorgoleth, Iroleth, Nathracor. Okay. All right, so now we have to do Star Sovereign, Empyrean, Aurora. Yeah, this is HYDRA, Aurora. This is going to be HYDRA, Clarion. Spinadrone. Okay. Warp Glider! Come on, man. Mapa Gradientu. Okay, so we've got 884. It's 52 again. I wonder if maybe the Wyvern actually does work and I just typoed it or something. Not sure. Well, I like how simple this one is compared to what I'm used to. pretty likely I'll have to manually fix up some of the harsh highlights, but where there's a will, there's a way. Why? Why have they done this? What a bunch of goofballs. So what really gets me about this graphic is that apparently the green is supposed to be, I don't know, it's like the green is interfering with the team color in addition to some other stuff. Like, what the fuck? So, yeah, I've got no idea what to do about the green. Like, I think this stuff should just be part of the team color layer. Whereas some of it on the front should probably be part of the energy remap. Looks like we'll be taking some creative liberties here. Alright, so layer via cut that, stuff it in there. Well, I'm not quite sure what else to say there, but looks like we did all right here. Props to Vic for making that a little bit easier than it would have been otherwise. All right, so let's pop into the actual game and check out how things are going so far. Again, that really obviously displaced jerking animation definitely seems odd there. And we got to clean up some team color. Otherwise, it seems to have come out okay. Yeah, and this animation needs... I figured the animation would need to be redone. And the masking obviously needs to be redone as well. The gradient map for the actual texture on the unit. Guess the Nathrcore could also use one of those. Oh yeah, it's way better now that I've done the work on it. The old one was such a mess. But I think this pretty much all of them look better, like the Centaur not being nearly as fucked up. It probably still needs some like a highlight treatment or something, but I think that's the ones that we've done recently. And it helps that that June 3 Hong guy did all of those wireframes. He's still working on some others, but that was definitely a big help. So there's 3 different fed EXP fed Unit 03s apparently. Because 3. The problem is I've tried all of them, so I don't know. which one it is supposed to be there. None of them are working. Adhikara. Anyway, we'll jump in and find... Yeah, here's the Empyrean. Grab this. That is indeed the Adhikara, dude. And we'll go ahead and pop this open. It always seems to go so smoothly with all of these graphics. But unfortunately, it doesn't last very long. Because then you look at the other frames and you're like, wait, I still need a lot more. I haven't gotten all the pixels I wanted. The bigger ships have... Wow, that's a good one, Photoshop. The bigger ships have significantly more... they've got double the facing directions of the smaller ships. So that means more... Like, I have to basically look at each individual frame instead of every other one. A little bit more work for me. Obviously, also a little bit more work for me in manually fixing shit as well, but... I mean, we kind of expect that. On the flip side, it does mean that I get to pretty comfortably, like, basically I don't have to worry about like matching a pattern or something from one frame to another because they're all unique. So I enjoy that. Pretty annoying when they have that weird blue pattern out of fucking nowhere. I don't know how these guys keyed their own team color in their actual game. I have no fucking idea. I can't imagine trying to like account for all of that when there's so many pixels that are shared. Like, surely if you're responsible for the engine, the graphics renderer or whatever, surely it's feasible to just make it so that the team color itself is a texture, like a texture type or something, as opposed like a layer, almost like a layer in Photoshop, instead of it being keyed to a certain color. Like, it being a color key really doesn't make sense to me. I don't know why they would go that approach. I'm kind of glad they did, because otherwise it would be impossible to put team color on these units. Well, very unlikely that we would attempt to, given the time it would take to implement that, but just from an objective standpoint, I can't imagine actually trying to do that. It seems like such a weird idea. Like actually trying to make that work seems so virtually impossible as far as I'm concerned. Plus, there's all the other times where they'll have like horrible issues with having random magenta pixels in the middle of fucking nowhere that I just can't believe they let slide. Like that's stuff that you don't even have to worry about if you just keep things in their own layers. Although one of the things that did, it was a weird thing to think about, but recently I was thinking about the fact that like some Brood War modders in the future, like those Koreans or whatever, might attempt to take the graphics that we make for our own game and rip them for Brood War usage, which I thought was pretty funny to think about, like how the tables have turned, or will have if that ends up happening. It's just funny. Like, I obviously don't give a shit if that happens. Insofar as like I wouldn't be upset about it, but it would definitely be pretty funny. One of the things that I never really got about, and this is probably old info, like I don't even know what Mesk still, thinks about this sort of approach or what his thought process was. But back in the day, Mesk used to be like very upset when anybody would take his graphics or anything that he from his mods. I think maybe without permission or something. Maybe that was the caveat, because obviously he wouldn't mind in many other cases. Like I've seen other people use that work, and they knew him or something. So I assume he got permission from them, or they got permission from him. But like a lot of Koreans would just rip his shit all the time, and like I don't really, I would like credit if I made something, but I don't really care at the end of the day because I personally am not worried about that kind of thing. Because the reason why it's weird to me that Mesk was the one who was talking about that is like he's made stuff that pretty much nobody back in his day of modding, like nobody would ever have been able to hold a candle to the shit that he made. So the idea that like the reason why I bring that up as a counterpoint or as an additional point of thought is like to me that's what that kind of mentality is like it's almost like a worry that they will outclass you, that they'll make something better than what you can make. And I don't think he had to worry about that. So I don't know. Like when I've encountered that kind of behavior in other circles, it's people worried about what I was just talking about. Them, somebody using somebody else's art assets and getting basically using them to create a better product or whatever. That is pretty stupid, yeah. Yeah, well, a ton of their graphics are really, really poor quality rips of StarCraft 2 graphics that they must have like frapsed the model viewer or something. It's gross. I think I've told you the story about the Thor asset that I had to spend like an hour on stream at least, if not more than an hour, just unfucking that one graphic because it had like insane errors. Like that's something that was definitely like it's broken like that in the mod that I took it from, or that it was taken from and uploaded because it was uploaded to Started.net. Somebody uploaded it in that state. Somebody used it in a released mod in that state, and like that, I just can't get over. That's so insane to me. Whereas like I don't even feel comfortable personally uploading files unless they've been like unless I'm supplying the iScript and overlays, like custom engine graphics and shit. Like I go all out when I upload something because it's like ready to go. You don't need anything else. I understand that maybe like the perfect is the enemy of the good in that sense, but that doesn't mean you get to just leave giant issues like the what happened with the Thor in some psychosis land. So pretty intense. Wasn't there like yeah, there it is. The blue extra bits are definitely going to need some final pass work later on, at least in theory, but this is better than what we had, so I'll go ahead and save it. Yeah, I was responsible for distributing like a complete source rip of Aatrox graphics to a bunch of people who weren't on Started. I don't think the actual complete rip was even hosted on StarReddit. Anyway, I think they just hosted the completed conversions. But all of their anything converted by those guys really has a very low likelihood of being perfect. And you should see some of the death animations. Let me see if I can find one of the more laughable cases where they. Well, I'll just see what I can find here. Yeah. So here's your graphic, right? And you want to know what its death animation is? It's just a recolored HYDRA. Because that looks natural. And the remnants are also recolored HYDRA. So that's pretty amazing. And yes, Tony. Is this not Tony? This looks like Tony to me. Look, his attack even involves him opening his mouth. Tony. I definitely want to use Tony somewhere. Yeah, so that's not even the only case. This graphic has a problem as soon as you open it. And was also done by the Koreans. Gee, I didn't know Starcraft had graphics that faced to the left. Oh, gee. It looks like this frame set ends before it looks all the way down. Oh. Gee, it looks like that's a common issue. Wow. And yet, at the end, they fix it. But for the first 3 frame sets? Oh, no, first 2? Oh, maybe it's just the first one, actually. Yeah, I think it's just the first frame set. No, this one, too. So the first 2 frame sets are fucked. They just don't have the right facing angles. They're missing ones at the bottom, and they're missing. They have extra ones at the top that shouldn't be there, because somebody didn't QA the first fucking frame set in the entire graphic. So like, I can't even fix that with the materials they've provided. That's not something where there's a bug with the frames that I can then edit out, like the Thor, which I still shouldn't have to do. But in that case, I have to actually make a new rip from the source material and fix it that way. So I guess there's a really outside chance that that's the way the graphic came in. Like, that's the state of the graphic in the game. Like, the source game also has that problem. But I kind of doubt that. I mean, it is a Korean RTS, so I guess it would be fitting that Koreans did a shitty job ripping it and also a shitty job implementing it in the first place. But I don't think so. I imagine that is not quite the state of affairs there. Just a wilding a guess. Hazarding a guess. But at that point, like, that's just embarrassing, dude. Really? Speaking of embarrassing. So what is left? I think just the Clarion and the... the Wyvern we can't do yet. Oh, the Othsteleth. That was the other one. Oh, yeah, of course. Well, it's all style over substance, if you can even call it style. It's not really style either, but that's the closest allegory we have in the West. I'm not really sure how true this is, but Dynamo is a guy who's been on my channel a few times as a co-caster for FPS games and RTS games as well, and he's got a really long history with Eastern modders, so like Chinese and Korean modders, and uh, mostly in an RTS context, I think, because they have some really weird obsession with Red Alert 2 and stuff. So he's played a lot of their content and he's looked at a lot of their communities, and a lot of what he's found is basically like, well, he's also a student of history, and so his take on it, anyway, from what I remember, and again, this is some time ago, so I don't know, I don't want to pretend I'm getting him in a hot water or anything about this, but I'm not. So maybe his stance on it has changed since, but what he told me when I was asking about this, because one of the things that I had posed to him was like, why I was basically complaining about all of the issues with the graphics that the Koreans were shipping and all of their assets being terrible and their mods being just god awful in terms of actual quality of the experience, and also like just an assault on the senses when it comes to readability, where they have like music playing as a unit response for a building, like a Nexus or something, and one of their mods, it just plays music. And like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it's really just confusing shit, and it's impossible to keep up with what's happening, and readability's out of the window and all that. So I was asking him about this, and I was like, you really don't get anybody. I mean, you don't get anybody in the West per se, like the English speaking countries, Anglo countries or whatever. You don't really get people who are concerned about quality here either. Like, by and large, most people aren't. But I've actually never met somebody who's like Korean or Chinese or anything like that who has come into the Starcraft scene and actually wanted to produce high quality content. They've all just ended up being people who, like, they basically pursue stuff. Maybe they pursue tasks and skills and disciplines that would provide them with the tools necessary to make high quality content, but they don't actually use it for that. Like, they'll learn programming to make really complicated plugin changes so that they can have the screen shake when a unit walks on screen. So it's like in service to shit. It's in service to stuff that is actively destructive to the end user's experience, instead of actually being at all related to quality content. It's not in service to anything quality. It might be difficult on a technical level, and it might have required effort to learn, but it literally is screen shaking, and it's ripping StarCraft 2 assets and making them play at different frame rates than what they should be playing at, and all that other shit. So, like, it's insane to even look at. It's just a hodgepodge. So when I asked Dynamo about this, what he said was that in his experience, he's seen a lot of the Asian cultures as having essentially a slave mentality, where individualism is really just not that like highly prized or whatever. And that obviously is a very deep cultural thing, not a modding scene thing or whatever, modding community specific thing. But I wonder if that does actually play a part in it, because basically nobody, because they're more collectivist, perhaps. There's some term that probably describes that. They're not really that invested in furthering their own craft for the sake of making the best content, and like basically they don't have as much of an ego about it as people in the West do. And obviously that ego can be really destructive, as we've seen in all of these communities like Campaign Creations and fucking Chris and all these other laughable people who have let their ego run wild and don't actually have any discipline or common sense. But I feel like the answer of like making high quality content must lie somewhere in the middle. Like, you can't just be slaving away for somebody else for the sake of like forever because you want to help them with their content, just as you can't ego out of control to the point where you don't even make anything worthwhile. You just update other people's content because they didn't do a good enough job the first time, which may be true, but the second part is not true, and the second part is you can do a better job. Like that's ridiculous. So there's these two wide extremes, and I'm sure there's got to be some way to make that a little bit more sensible. So, wow, it's called a life vessel, dude. The Clarion is a life vessel. How embarrassing. I did not hear about that, but that's pretty good. I guess I can pop open and take a look since I've just finished my conversion of the life vessel. Oh, where's the format? Honestly, the only actual posts that seem to be happening on the... Oh, well, maybe it's deleted or something? I was going to say the only posts that seem to be happening... Oh, wait. Maybe it's here. No, that's taco salad, and that was in January. Where's the latest 2020? What thread was it? Oh man, so it was in Starcraft discussion? I don't see any posts lately, so. The latest post is July 23rd, 2020. And it's Andrea Rosa saying that they are very proud of Gemini for supporting a beloved classic like Life of a Marine. Also known as... Yeah, I think it got destroyed. It must have just been discarded entirely or something. I don't know. That's my assumption anyway. Oh well. The fuck? So what do we got here? 612. 36 pixels. Oh, one thing I should be careful about though is the dimensions of these images. If I'm pasting into the old PSD files, because they might not be the same dimensions. I didn't even think about that for the Empyrean, so I hope it's not fucked. Again, this is 612. Yeah, so... Like, just to be sure. That might be a problem. Let's take a look here. 2227. Oh, I lucked out there. Holy moly. Alright, it's a good thing I checked that here. It was 14. Perfect. Yeah, that's not surprising. Master of War. Don't say Master of War. Why do all of these electronic songs have stupid 80s movie samples? Is it because it's quirky and fun, lol? Or is it because they're just dumb? You decide. Free TikTok fans bot posts. So that's where the other activity is. If it's not Chris and Rawflesh tag teaming 14-year-old threads, it's fucking TikToks. If Labyrinth made a TikTok and advertised campaign creations, we might have some more custom campaigns in the game, you know? You ever think of that? This is a graphic I don't mind much doing the menial work for because it's so small. McCrinkle Dick. Oh, I don't recognize the name, and I feel like I would, but I'll take you on your word there. I'm glad Twitch still allows names like that. would really just ruin the site's reputation if it didn't have such epic options. What's up in Veritatum? Yeah, that was kind of the undertone there, dude. Thankfully, we're just about done with this clown emoji. We can get back to Actually, can we get back? I think we still have to do some other shit, don't we? At least one other graphic needs to be converted. And it's a doozy. I might save that for tomorrow, though. Yeah, it's actually that's what my first thought was too. Looking at it is that it's like a scarab or something, but it's all right. It's fine. Works out all the same. Oh, we have a hidden layer somewhere. Oh yeah, it's just that one. That's fine. Okay. It's going to be the lovely representation of a support unit in HYDRA. It's actually, technically, the unit is already implemented. I'm updating the graphics so that it's a little bit less intense. Hey. All right, see you later, man. If we have any programmers in the chat or aspiring programmers, let me teach you a little something here. I'm not sure if you can see this very, very easily here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something I don't normally do. I'm going to zoom in. Hold on. Technical issues? Boomer? Hello? Okay. So let me draw your attention to this little red dot, dude. Check out this little red dot. You know what that is? That is the result of this little option. Frame outline. It's in red. Instead of removing it, the programmer of this tool decided it would be a good idea to put it in the fucking corner where it distracts me because I have OCD. Except, not really, but in the way that everybody has OCD. I have OCD. Why the fuck is that there? I mean, literally unplayable. Just get it off my screen. What's wrong with you? I took this off so I could have more readability of the graphic, and it's just over there. It hurts. Well, this program is actually trash. It's supposed to save graphics in the format that Starcraft can read. It does that, but this is the only program that I've dealt with, besides Retro GRP, which is like 2001 or something, that when you save a GRP file with it, it actually adds random like pixels that are miscolored. And somehow it even fucks them up to the point where those pixels change color depending on the player color, even though they're not colored in with the player color index. So I don't know how that happens, but it's really insane. So I've never seen anything like it. It corrupts the GRP format in a way that I've never seen. It's pretty epic. Gotta love it. Anyway. Now that I'm done ranting about how shitty this program is. Did I even? I didn't even actually import the changed graphic. There you go. Beautiful. It's gorgeous. All right, let's go admire our handiwork now that this is taken care of. Just close that. It's fine. And I just wanted to delete this and save it. Oh, I forgot the Clarion actually has some other graphic already earmarked for it. Oh, it's in here somewhere. Let's find it. No, that's a different guy. Is it here? No, that's a different guy. I think it's a critter. That's definitely not it. Oh shit, I actually need to get that too at some point. Dude, where is it? Wait, what even is this? Oh, that's a burst laser. It's in here somewhere. I found it. T me heal L. Okay. Beautiful. What do you usually program, McCrinkle-Dick? That's a scary thing to even ask a man named McCrinkle-Dick, but ask it I did. Alright, that's it, dude. We're hopping in here and checking out what's going on. Oh yeah, we also did the Aurora, which... I think that's the updated one. Yeah, it's got a little bit more blue. It probably needs some cleanup. That's fine. And here's the Aurora. I mean, the fucking Clarion. Yeah, I'd probably clean up some of the blue pixels. But that's fine. Works out. Mobile app development, front-end development. Did you get out of a job due to the coronavirus, or was it unrelated? Or are you actually looking to get into it for like the first time in a more dude, check out this dancer. I guess I should actually do that fucking animation at some point. There we go. 1998. Ah, professional poker to software development. Wow. So did your luck run out, or... Professional poker is not a bad deal. What the fuck happened here? Hello, Notepad++. Get out of here, dude. Get out of my sight. Oh, it just closed the file, of course. Beautiful. I do think that as much as everybody tells you to get a computer science degree if you go to college and do this, do that, it is really surprisingly challenging to actually land a job anywhere. Because I feel like all of the jobs that are mostly on the internet seems like it's a case where you have to prove yourself independently. Like basically create the thing that you put on your resume in order to get hired. At least you can do that. Like the old case of like, you need a job to get experience and you need experience to get a job. That's not really as big of a deal in a market or in an environment where you can like go and program your own app or whatever you're you're trying to apply to become a writer on a website. Well, you just write a bunch of shit and then you're like, here's my resume. I've written this. You know, sort of a portfolio, I guess, as opposed to a resume. So you can actually put that shit together It's like what I do for voice acting and stuff. So at least you can do that. But it does seem like it's super saturated now, no matter where you go. Like just a couple of years ago, like even streaming wasn't nearly as big. It's just if you weren't an early adopter, you don't get any. You're at a much bigger disadvantage, I guess, because you don't have nearly as easy a time getting the lion's share of early attention or whatever. All right, I think I'm done modifying graphics for the time being. I still need to do the exemplar, wyvern, southpaw, octolith, arcagelisk. I think there was one other. Yes. All right, so I got to do those. Oh yeah, and then I got to do a little bit of tileset work here because I just got to re-index these images and re-import them. Should I even try to pronounce that name? Sinosauropteryx. Thanks. Mwah. That's all I got for you. Oh shit. I definitely can't pronounce that name. But thanks for the follow too. Mwah. I hope that smooch finds you some much needed moisturizer. Okay, so obviously the palette for this tile set really busted a lot of the terrain, but I know a man. A certain man who is capable of fixing all of those problems. Now the only problem after that is that I have to re-index the images, and then I have to re-import the pathability flags, so it's kind of annoying, but we can do it. So let's jump into some folder somewhere. It's a good thing I know my way around my computer. If I ever get amnesia and have to figure out where stuff is, I am going to be so lost. Okay. I don't remember if I've already done changes here. So say dither. This is dirt cliff edge space. Wait, where is it? Space medium. And then put that layer on. This is how we get asteroids into the space tile set. And then we just turn space depth off. Dirt. And this is dirt cliff edge dirt. Oh, actually, I haven't even done that one yet. Okay, I think that means everything's good. The one thing that might not be is this, which I can just re-index real quick. It's a placeholder anyway. All right, so now we're good. Now all we need to do is actually do the importing. We're looking at space medium. Looks much nicer. Okay. So thankfully we were able to actually edit the palette. Apparently the palette for this tile set has a ton of free real estate, which is nice because otherwise we would be shit out of luck. I appear to have selected the wrong one here. This should be HDirt. Yeah, be this. There we go. And we'll do all right. So now we get the lovely job of saving and then re-importing all of the very important tile data, which is going to be annoying. I'm just gonna scroll down real quick and grab the same thing here. I didn't copy the other ones, unfortunately. The doodads I'm gonna have to redo, which is really annoying. And I'll probably have to redo the Dirt Cliff space ones, but those are not as important right this moment. So we're looking at Dirt Cliff, Edge, Medium, High. Okay. All right. All these variants mean that we'll have the requisite cliffs for every occasion, more or less. We just need to go into group multi-selection and not get pranked like that, ideally. Shift height down. Oh yeah, I'm gonna need to shift this height down as well. Oh. All right, have a good one. Why, man? I don't even know what to do about that. I don't know where I was. Probably hadn't even saved after importing all of the text files again. What a piece of shit. Alright, I at least saved after re-importing all the graphics, so there's that. I guess I'll just clear out all of the unused mega tiles and mini tiles. Ha! Good one. 841. Well, at least we figured out what was going wrong there. And now the one that's going to take a bit longer. That. And while that runs, because it will take a long fucking time, I will BRB, because I got to use the bathroom and get some more water and gear up for the last hour or so of the stream. So BRB. I can't say I'm surprised, but it's not done yet. Yeah, I wanted to check see if there was any other wireframes uploaded. Doesn't look like it. I guess that's probably better used as a structure. Perfect. Now we will save. And now we will go ahead and grab this. Oh, I should redo the center tiles too. Almost forgot about those. I guess I'll do those right now before I do anything else. I think I saved before. Yeah, okay. I don't know why shit like that just seems to crash all the time. I think it almost always only occurs when I'm... Yeah, now it's fine. It almost always seems to occur when I try to... like clean out all the mini tiles that I don't need, and then continue trying to edit stuff, basically. That's what seems to do the trick very frequently. At least these ones are pretty easy to do. Okay, we are good to go on the tile flags. So I am done with that. I'm going to go ahead and close that for now. So aside from the palette issues that we're now seeing, it looks like things have been much improved. Let's see if I actually grabbed all of these. It looks like I did. Oh. I didn't actually add these into the MPQ. Beautiful. I am going to need to do quite a lot of custom tile work for the ramps and stuff in this map, connecting the asteroids to the space platform, but it'll be worth it in the end. I had forgotten that these actually curl in instead of the other way around. But I guess that's not that big of a deal. Nice lardism. I knew this was going to require some kit bashing, but I didn't quite know how much. I think this will be all I need to do here is just organize this. I'm going to use the south-facing cliff from this, but at least we'll also have a lovely little bit that can be used. Well, that's a kit bash, all right. But it's my kit bash, goddammit. Wait, I don't actually need to move this up at all. What did I do? I think I just delete that. Oh, that I do need to do though. Okay. I think we are good to go here for my trial run junk thing. We'll see how it works out. I don't expect it will look epic, but it'll be a functioning ramp, and that's what matters. Load error, by the way. What did I do wrong now? It's 512 wide. Oops. Oh, okay. Just didn't want to do it the first time around, I guess. Just about finissimo. What's up, Kluge? I made a ramp. I don't think it's going to be a permanent fixture, but you never know. And right now I'm just putting the finishing touches on it for now. Although I am going to have to do extensions for it at some point. But that shouldn't be too difficult. All right. So let's get it into the editor, and I will take a look at it and see what it looks like in action, so to speak. Yeah, I mean, I've done them before. This one's pretty easy on its face because it just requires a little bit of editing, but it's mostly the source stuff. So basically, I took the Rusty Pit doodad, the ramp there, and I plugged it in to, I merged it with the space cliff, and then I merged the space cliff with the dirt from Badlands. And now we have a ramp for going from the platform tile to the dirt tile. And I've already done the asteroid tiles, as you can see. The holes and broken texture bits are just tiles I haven't made yet. Obviously, there's like a there's no north facing ramp yet, so we're waiting on that. But then I'll be able to do that. So I do the same process. But I think. Oh yeah, well I guess I'll have to blend it with high dirt as well for some areas like over here. But like from right, well I guess those will be bridges because they're technically the same height level. But yeah, that didn't take too long to do. It's pretty straightforward. But I really like the aesthetic of the rocks floating in space, even though like in a perfect world, if I had the artistic talent, I would actually go in and I would make like stalactites that are almost like, you know, like those things that are in caves where they're like really sharp things that are just hanging there, like mineral growths or whatever, almost kind of crystalline in appearance. I would probably take those and I would like root them onto the base of the tile so it wouldn't just fade out. The fading out was just an easy thing to do on a labor side. Like it wasn't too difficult for me to make the fade out transitions. But it still feels a little bit like they might be in space or something, so kind of works. Obviously, I've got to go in and remove the grass and stuff. That makes it look like it's not quite in space, but I've already done that to most of the source tiles. I've got to do it to the higher dirt tiles, and then obviously just have to handle it on the cliff side. Get rid of all of the bits of grass that are growing. The biggest issue with the set of tiles that I have here that blends dirt with platform cliff or space cliff or whatever is there's no shadows yet. I haven't found a way to do that easily without like painstakingly manually placing them there myself, like painting the shadows. But eventually I'll get those in and it'll look a little bit more convincing. Right now it looks like what it was. It looks like it was just photoshopped together. It doesn't look like it belongs in the scene yet. But we'll get there. Have no fear. And yeah, this map has been really slow going as far as actually completing the layout of because it requires so much custom art. And that is something that I haven't yet really wrangled with. So I might decide to just paint the rest of it using platform or something and not really worry too much about anything else. I technically have everything I need to write placeholders now. Like I know that there's going to be the third tier of dirt and the second tier of dirt, or like the lower first tier, right? I have all three tiers of dirt that I'm going to have in the tile set already. So I could do low platform, platform, high platform, and use that to like mark out where everything is going to be in the tile set itself and use that as the placeholder. And we might even go as far as to completely re-terrain all of the stuff that we have in the upper area, like where this orange base is. I might just decide to re-terrain most of that anyway to try to get a better like first draft of it. This area I might do as well, even though technically it's the right height level that I want to start, and I would just build up from there. It's a little harder to get like the fine-tuning bits in because we don't have. I can't just paint these tiles because they don't actually exist in the tile set normally. So I have to like paint with platform or something, and then replace it later. So it does take a lot longer than it would otherwise. But I think in the interest of actually finishing the layout for this particular map in a reasonable amount of time and like being able to iterate on it and change stuff, I'll probably go that approach, even though like for areas that are supposed to be asteroids or whatever, and then I'll just paint over it later. But it's coming along. the tile set itself is coming along. This map has been in a similar state for a while now. That being said, now that I have this ramp, what I'll probably end up doing is making the bridges between the medium dirt and I guess what I can do for taking this high dirt and blending it with the platform ramp is I can actually take this ramp here, the ramps to high platform, and I can probably blend these with the higher dirt cliff, and I guess it'll have to pass over the bits there. I've done that with Catwalk before though, so I know what to do there. So yeah, it's coming along. I really only need 2 major pieces left, the bridges and the higher dirt ramps. I might not even need the higher dirt ramps, so I'll wait until I come up with a reason to make that. It's not going to stop me from designing the level in the way that I want to, but if I ever want to link together higher dirt with this, for example, I mean, the platform ramps would be the way to go there, so. Yeah, I guess we'll see. So, tomorrow's mod stream will be much more centered around finishing the job as far as smashing all of the bits and pieces of the layout together. Maybe not all of it in one day, but we'll see. I'll certainly get a lot more progress done in that vein tomorrow than I did today, because I'll be working a little bit less with custom tiles and a little bit less with custom graphics. So yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks everybody for hanging out today. I'll catch you guys tomorrow for another mod stream. And keep your eyes peeled for other content on the YouTube channel coming your way sooner than you think. Bye.